Rob Pelinka, Jenny Buss, I'm sure as hell they sat down with LeBron James and talked through how are we going to make these changes when we let go of Magic. KD, Kyrie, I'm sure as hell Sean Marks, the GM, Josiah, the owner, sat down with them and said, hey, who are you thinking about? Do you like Steve Nash? How do you feel about Steve Nash? But James Harden doesn't garner the same respect. I think that was the first huge mistake right out of the gate.
Typically, though, when you are whatever, superstar, star player, whatever, the coaches respect you, the front office respects you. In all sports, they typically come to you and just have a conversation with you, even though that conversation may, take place after they've made a decision on what they want to do. They at least address it with you so that you're not out there in the universe trying to figure it out. Now, whether, I've always said when players start to, in all sports for that matter, start to say that they don't want to be somewhere and they're not, and you can just look at the history of it. I don't care if it's Kawhi or AD or players in the NFL. When there's an issue that comes up with a player not wanting to be a part of something, you typically move that guy because you don't want, and I said this when we first started this conversation weeks and weeks ago, you typically don't want that individual in the locker room, and not because he's going to try to drive a wedge between the team and ownership or the players and the coaches.
Be a cancer type.
Yeah, but they use the word cancer just because that's a good term in terms of the media, but just because he doesn't want to be involved in your direction in which you want to go in with the team. So the best thing to do is probably move that individual, especially if you got a Stephen Silas who is a first-time young head coach. You don't want to set him up to have to babysit and deal with somebody frowning when they walk through the building every single day. You don't want to deal with that. If someone's not happy in a workplace, you need to try to figure out how to fix it. And the best way, it seems to me, is to move on from James Harden and allow him to go to a team, whether it's the 76ers, whether it's the Brooklyn Nets or wherever he desires, and you get whatever you could get in return. That's what I would do if I was the general manager of the team.
Well, that's the question. How much will you get in return? And if this behavior continues to move forward. Now, I don't think James Harden will be the guy that won't show up, right? Like his contract can't start until he actually starts to play. Right, which is different than NFL, right? You can hold out to a degree.
It depends.
But because I've always known James, when I heard from teammates of his, that he's been very upfront and direct about him. But the longer this behavior happens, I think he loses a little bit of the value, because if you're an opposing team, you're sitting there saying,
well, he doesn't want to be there.
Well, the Rockets would lose their value. That's what I'm talking about. That's what I meant to say. Thank you for cleaning that up. It would come to a point where your other team saying, well, he doesn't want to be there anyway.
Well, that happens in all sports. Once they sniff out that there's an issue, they'll offer you whatever to get that particular player when they know that player wants to exit the building. I look at it and say, of course, James Harden is going to show up at some point in time. But when he shows up, it's like anything in life. Do you want to come home every single day and watch your wife frowning for no reason? Like, you got to try to work it out. Or do you want to have issues in a workplace where every time you walk through a building, your boss is saying something slick behind your back? You don't want that. You just, and that same thing for James Harden. He doesn't want to walk into the arena in Houston and have a first-time head coach in Silas. He's now got to walk on eggshells, how he deals with it very delicately. Got to make sure he doesn't upset him. Got to make sure. You don't want to have to deal with that. That's too much stress to take on every single day when I got to now manage 10, 11 other guys.
Well, and think about what Silas just said. I'm sorry, Zubin. I didn't mean to cut you off.
I want to ask you something.
Where's your star player? I don't know. You know how embarrassing that is for a first-year head coach to actually come out and say, I don't know where my star player is?
Do you really honestly think that he didn't know, or he just – because I think he knew and he just was playing coach media. I don't know.
Playing coy.
Yeah,
maybe,
playing coy.
Maybe. I don't know. Maybe.
Like you said, though, Insta tells everything. Right? I mean, and other players on the team, it's like, yo, Jay, you seen Zubin? Oh, man, I just saw him. He was walking in New York to get something to eat.
That's why I said it's a slap in the face, though. Even if he didn't know, yo, I ain't coming the first day of training camp. I've seen every other superstar show up the first day of training camp. That's what I'm saying. Even if he did know, That's still a slap in the face.
I got a couple questions for you. First of all, James Harden under team control for at least the next 2 years. Again, he can wedge his way out, force his way out, but right now the Rockets do have the hammer. At that particular moment, he is under team control for the next 2 years. Two questions for you. The Rockets preseason begins in 3 days. Preseason, a game that doesn't count, but it's a game, your teammates. Should he be there for that?
Yes.
Will he be there for that?
I would like to think so, knowing the character of James Harden. I would like to think so, but I don't know his state of mind right now. I don't know how he views this. All I have to see are his actions of not being there on Sunday. Now, if he shows up today, I don't know if reports say he showed up today or yesterday, but I honestly don't know, Zubin.
Think about that.
Which is your star player.
December 23rd, they open the regular season at home against his old team, the Oklahoma City Thunder. Where will he be? What uniform will James Harden be wearing on December 23rd?
He would like to be in a different uniform other than the Houston Rockets.
That ain't what he asked you, though.
I
like
don't know.
You did me with Aaron Rodgers.
Because I don't know how I don't know how Raphael Stone and company are going to handle this. And what is your tolerance for chaos? Right? If he continues to push the chaos line with not showing up, to a degree, how long can you handle that as an organization? I don't know what their threshold is.
Man, here's what I would say. Show up and chill. Show up and chill. They know they have to move you. It's almost like the Anthony Davis situation prior to leaving New Orleans. That's all, folks. I mean, in
the T-shirt. Get me out of here.
Get me out of here. And so show up, and they'll probably start to seriously move you.
I just don't see James Harden doing his teammates dirty, right? Like, he's never struck me as that guy. He's a ride or die guy. Even with the way things went down with Brody, they always seemed like they were somewhat communicating on the same page, right? Even though Russ left. I think that's going to be the same way with John Wall, Boogie Cousins and company, those guys he still rocks with. I just don't think you have a guy as bought in as James Harden would be to be bought in to actually lead a franchise. Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN Plus right now.